Okay, so first of all, I have to say, if LG continues to release firmware updates for the LG ZX in this rate or frequency, then I think it's about time to start a dedicated channel just for firmware updates on the LG ZX, because there would be enough content. But let's be serious for a moment. We received now, or a couple of days ago, the third update within a couple of weeks for the LG ZX, and in my opinion, that's not really a good sign. Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. So let's recapture a little bit in terms of firmware updates, or what firmware updates we got actually recently in the last couple of weeks. So we started actually with 044135, and this was one was the major update where the LG ZX got the new home layout, which apparently no one likes, but no worries at all. You can, thanks God, you can disable it, okay, or turn it off. So and then a couple of days later, or maybe a week or something like that, I can't remember actually when exactly we got all the firmware updates, but then we got 044140, which just fixes minor bugs. That's the official changelog on the LG website. And now we have 044145, which also just fixes minor bugs. And I installed this firmware yesterday morning, and since then I did a little bit testing, and yeah, that's why I'm doing this video. Okay, so first of all, I have to admit that I didn't do proper testing like with the other firmware updates, because it's just, you know, I'm for what? You know, I think at some point it's just wasting time. So of course I tested YouTube and gaming and stuff like that, but most important, I check the maximum peak brightness for Blu-rays and game mode, of course, Dolby Vision and HDR or HDR10, because some people actually claiming is probably the wrong word, but they suspecting that after this firmware update, this current firmware update, the maximum peak brightness is reduced. And by the way, if people are asking what game this is Metro Exodus, the enhanced version on the Xbox Series X. And this looks actually really great, unbelievable. Great. And HDR in this game, by the way, the console version HDR in this game is absolutely, so if you like great games with great HDR implementation, this game is a must buy, okay? Anyway, so I of course tested, as always, HDR in the game mode. So let's start with the game mode, and I'm always using Cyberpunk because I like to have a consistent result or consistent measurements, and I hope that I'm getting always the same results, more or less. So, and in this case I did it as well, and I will just, let's boot this up, but there is no difference compared to the other firmware. So 044140 was the last firmware, or the last firmware, and now we have 044145. So between those two firmwares, I couldn't find a big difference, or no major difference. Of course, there's a little bit of a difference. So in HDR I measured in this firmware, in the recent firmware, 675. And last time I measured 682. So there's a little bit of a difference, but again, this is just related to measurements and stuff like that. So there's no problem at all. I just like to boot this up and show you actually what scenery I'm always measuring, to maybe then you can verify this on your own. Dolby Vision, I measured in this firmware with .45 665, and with the old firmware, or the last firmware, 664. So almost the same actually, almost the same. So now HDR 10% window. I measured this firmware with almost 690 candela, and last time 680 candela. So keep in mind, this is always done with a 2-point calibration, or service menu 2-point calibration, a very, very quick one. So just to show you what I'm measuring actually in Cyberpunk all the time is, first of all, this light with my colorimeter here, very cheap one, not very, very accurate, but I think for brightness measurements and for what I'm doing, it's more than enough. But I'm planning at some point maybe to upgrade to a proper one. And I'm measuring this light, and this light is bloody crazy bright. Okay, so that's what I'm always doing to verify the brightness in game mode, because then I'm sure or then I know that then I know what I can expect, okay? But again, there is no difference in terms of maximum peak brightness in the game mode, not in Dolby Vision, not in HDR, and also not for Blu-rays with well, let's say like this. I tested the Spears and Munsell DVD or Blu-ray DVD on a 10% window, and also what did we had? 688 candela, almost 690 candela, and I think that's actually a very good result for the LG CX. Okay, so let's talk quickly about Netflix app, what I tested since yesterday morning, okay? I haven't tested any other app because there was no time. I focused on Netflix, and there was something weird in the very beginning. So I did my update, I did the firmware update, and I, of course, restarted my TV to finish the firmware update, and then I tested Netflix. And what I found is it always closed the app. And I had this issue before, long time ago with, I don't know if it was an app issue or a firmware issue. I don't know. I tried it a couple of times. I started a movie, a series whatsoever. I can't show you this at the moment. It's resolved, okay? But I can't show you, of course, any content from Netflix due to copyright issues. But anyway, it always closed. Always closed. After a couple of seconds, it went back to the last HDMI 3 input, what I had selected on the Xbox. After I turned off the TV and left it off actually for, let's say, 20 minutes or whatever, I completely removed it from the power. And I tried it again. Since then it's working without any issue. So I don't know what this was. Maybe, okay, that's just a screensaver. Maybe it would be enough to actually just maybe restart the TV again, but I just like to bring this up. Since then I haven't had any problems, not with any movie or any series. And of course I checked a couple of movies in terms of maximum peak brightness. Very hard to measure, of course. Movies because of Netflix app is a little bit more tricky, but I couldn't find any difference in terms of maximum peak brightness. It appears to be exactly the same as with the old firmware. Okay, my friends, so that's it for this video, and all what I have to say at the end, keep in mind that I can just talk about my LG ZX, and there's at this very moment no issue at all. I mean, everything is working. There's no issue with the maximum peak brightness in Blu-rays or in the game mode, not in Dolby Vision, not in HDR10, but again, this is just on my TV. I have the LG ZX 65-inch version. I'm here based in Australia, not Austria, Australia. Maybe that's important because maybe there are slightly different firmware versions all across the country, all across the globe, of course, not across the country. Because of different apps and whatever. So this is what we need to keep in mind, okay? If you experienced any issue, then put it in the comment section, because then we can share it with everybody else, okay? So far, right now, no problem at all on my LG CX. Still great picture, and I think I have to play this game at some point. I mean, this looks just amazing. Anyway, that's it from me, or that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching me. I see you guys next time. Bye.